Okay, so I'm going to touch on rule stuff first. That way it's fresh in your brain. We'll do all the playbook stuff towards the back end of it, but the rule stuff, at least, is when you're absolutely at your most focused at the start. Kids have to have a mouth guard. You have to check them. The refs are going to check them every single game. So you're going to see the refs come out every single game before the game starts, and they're going to come down the row of your kids. Okay, so they're going to come by, they're going to check that the mouth guard's in, they're going to make sure the flags are in the right spot, they're going to be checking for pants pockets, okay? NFL flag or flag in general does not allow pockets on shorts or pants. You just can't have them, right? Your only option is you either have zip ups, right, or you basically tape them shut. If we can't tape them shut because of the material, that kid can't play that day. Okay, and the referees will have a zero tolerance rule on it. And it's a safety thing, right? So they're gonna do those checks, okay? Flag belts are supplied by us. They're cool popper belts if you haven't seen them before. When you first get the new ones, it'll come in every year. The kids will cut them and do what they gotta do to get them the right size. You'll find sometimes these belts are gonna come apart along the way. We should have extras if that does happen to be able to get you a new one if they cut them too short, if they kind of come apart. The first couple weeks, those poppers are going to be real tight coming off too. So you're going to want to spend some extra time during your practice time making sure that you're teaching guys how to flag. Cleats are optional. We're on turf. They're going to have grip on turf whether they got cleats or they got shoes on. Okay, that turf's pretty good whether you've got either one on. And then there you go with the shorts, pockets, leggings. Gloves they can have, not have, totally up to each individual kid. Okay, but those will be big things. And then with the flag belts, sometimes the kids were, they kind of put their shirt down and they wouldn't tuck their shirt in, try to put the belts over top. If that belt, if we can't see the very top edge of that belt, right, you can see where the poppers are there, right beside the green line there. If they can't see that, right away, if that kid catches the ball, it's gonna be dead right there. They won't even let him have a pull. They'll make a 2-yard catch. And if that referee's looking and those flag belts aren't clear, it's just gonna be whistled dead right there. So you gotta really make sure you're on your kids about either A, tucking those shirts in real good, or if they wanna have their shirt out, right, because some of the kids like it that way, make sure they're constantly bringing that back up and pulling the shirt back down before plays. Okay, I had a couple times last year where my guys didn't do the right things and I got like a 4-yard catch and I was at the end of the play and I needed another 10 for the first down. If I would have caught it and been able to run, it would have been a first down. So, basic rules of flag football, we'll go through these. So first rule, everybody knows this, no contact. Okay, there's gonna be incidental stuff that happens where a kid catches the ball trying to go upfield, another kid's trying to come in and flag him. There's penalties for that stuff. We'll let the referees do that side of things. They're always going to make sure that they err on the side of caution. If a kid did try to move, right, they'll probably let some of it go. If a kid's, playing tackle, hands down, right, doing all that stuff to try and get through, then they're going to call that stuff, right? Just make sure that when you're doing your drills, that you're spending a lot of time teaching them how to avoid that stuff and get out of the way and move hips and good stuff like that, and then you won't run into those issues, okay? So start at each game, we'll go through all this stuff. As they check your players along the sideline, right, they're gonna make sure everybody's good to go. They're checking mouth guards, check flags, we already talked about that. Then they're gonna do is bring captains out to the middle of the field. They'll have a coin, they'll do a coin toss on it. I think we played it last year, there was always the away team got choice. Yeah, so we'll continue to go that route with it. And then basically one will choose who wants ball, is kind of how it works. With fields this year, because we're playing all on the turf this year, we're only going one direction. So last year we had end zones on either end. With us trying to get everybody onto one space at one time, right, and have everybody on the turf, fields are just gonna run one direction. So you'll start in the end zones and work towards the middle of the field on the 4 side fields, and then there's one field that's actually in the middle between the 4 fields, okay? So with doing that, interceptions, things like that, which we'll touch on, will be a little different than what we did last year too, okay? So each team will take possession of the football. You'll get to have 4 downs to make for the first 25 yards. Okay, so you'll start on your back, you're on your line, you got 25 yards to make it, right? And you got 4 downs to get there. If on the 4th down you don't make it, it would be a turnover, right? If you choose on 3rd down, you can punt and give the other team the ball and it goes all the way back, okay? When we get into just how, here, I want the field. Do we have the one-way on here? I don't think it is. So with us, like, our fields will be like this one here on option B. So we just won't have an end zone on one end. Okay, so this end zone will basically, instead of it being an end zone, it'll be like an open space where the offense is starting. So the offense would basically start on that line. They'd have that space to work in, and then they would work towards the center field line. From the center field line in, we had to shorten it up though to create that space. So the first set is 25 yards, the second's 20. Okay, so the first set is 25 yards, you gotta make it, right? 3 downs, choose to go for it on 4th or not, your choice. If you turn it over, what we're doing this year is we're gonna give the team, if you don't make it on 4th down, we're gonna give the other team the ball at the midfield mark. So they'll only have to go 20 yards and have 3 downs to put it in. So when you choose whether you're punting or not on 4th down, it's a bigger risk now. So if you don't make it, they've only gotta go 20 yards to get that ball in the end zone, versus last year it was a different thing, okay? Sometimes teams would be a little bit less, but that's how we're gonna do it with the one-way direction, is that, yeah, this end zone will kind of be your starting area, you work the middle, right? And then this will be from here to here, only be 20 yards. And then the end zones, instead of being 10, we shorten the end zones up to 5 yards as well. So the space in the back of the end zone is smaller too. Okay, so it's a lot of tight space. Fields are only 25 yards wide. So again, 5-on-5, but it's a tight space that you're into, okay? No run zones. Okay, so before the 25-yard bracket and before the end zone, there's a 5-yard space where you cannot run the ball. Okay, 8U we allow it, okay, but at 10U, 12U, 14 or 15U, you have to throw the football if you're in that space. Okay, one of the things that comes up every year, once you pass the no run zone and get that first down, so say we're right here, we get a first down and we're here, say on the next play you get sacked, your kid drops the ball, whatever the deal is, but you end up going back past the line. The no run zone's turned off. Okay, it does. You can do whatever you want. As soon as you pass that space, if you end up back over it, it doesn't matter. It's done already, right? You can still run past, do whatever you want, because as soon as you've crossed that line and gone past it, it's eliminated at that point. There was quite a few little tussles and stuff over that last year, but yeah, as soon as you're past it, it's over. If you end up getting sacked and go back over it, you can run past whoever you want. It's kind of like it gets turned off. Okay. Down here, that'll never be a problem. Because you're either going to score or you're going to not score. Simple as that. Okay. Is there any questions on the field this year? Straightforward. Okay.
You start out at the 5-yard, right?
Yeah, you'll start. Yeah, so it's kind of like you'll have that end zone spot where it's like 5 yards, and then you'll start like it's right on, like, because essentially it's like you're starting on your goal line essentially, and it's from that goal line spot to the middle is exactly 25 yards. Okay.
If you go to the previous page, it has the one-way.
Did it have it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, and ours, like, again, our field's a little different, and we'll be going the other way. So these ones are going into the end zone. We're gonna flip it and come out of the end zone, so everything's going towards the middle. There's less chance of stuff happening this way versus running it out on the track was our concern, right? Because the corners at Genesis Place are turned, right? So that's that little gap that's on the one side of each field. You wouldn't be able to kind of work it as much. Whereas if we're running offense out of that side, it won't be as big of a deal. Okay, interceptions, right? What we'll do with interceptions is you won't return them, right? It'll just be dead, it'll be called dead, and the other team will get the ball at midfield. Okay, so if an interception happens, automatically get it at midfield.
Unless you're across midfield. When you're in that final 20-yard zone, the 3-down zone, when you're across half, it would turn over back to the far end.
You want to go all the way back.
That's the way it's written up in there.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
the way they've got
So
it.
yeah, so if you get intercepted in the first 25 yards, thank you for clarifying that. You get intercepted in the first 25 yards, the other team's automatically going to get it on the midfield line. If it gets intercepted in between the 25 and the goal line, like that last 20 yards, the team will just get it back on the far end. Okay, that way there's no penalty. You've earned the right and then going back the other way. And a lot of times if it's getting picked off down there anyway, they're going to be near their own end zone anyway at that point, okay? So timing, how we're doing timing at 12U, 10U, and 15U will be tournament play all the time. So what we're doing is you're gonna get so last year we ran into some issues where some teams were just, they had missing players or they were heavily outmatched, right? So what we're gonna do this year is instead of you having to spend an entire 45, 50 minutes playing one team and it's just like, oh man, right? You're gonna get to play 2 tournament games every single Sunday at those levels. So you're gonna play a 25-minute game and then switch fields and play another 25-minute game against another team. Okay, so how it works is it's 12-minute run time, 1 minute halftime, 12-minute run time, switch fields, go play another game. So no matter, you're getting to play 2 games every weekend, and again, it's fast, right? There's still 50 minutes of game time that you're getting, right? Or 48 minutes of game time you're getting, but you're gonna play 2 different teams at those levels. Okay, and usually how we'll do it is it'll just be a rotation where it'll be like you here, you here, you here, and come back and around, right? But you'll get to play 2 games. It'll go fast, right? So you got to be quick with what you're doing and how you sort of set things up when you're going, but that's how we're going to do it this year. At 8U, they're still just going to play the 1 game. It's just, with that age group, it's a lot easier if we just do it that way, because it's coach pass anyway, and it kind of slows things down for little guys, right? It's not as heavy for them. But 10U, 12U, 15U, it's 2 12-minute halves each game, move on to the next game, okay? We won't do overtimes during regular season. That would only be the last weekend of the season we'd ever do overtime, and we will, once we get to that, I would bring those rules out that weekend, so we won't touch on overtime rules or format until we get the playoffs, and then we'll have a quick coaches meeting that day before we start games. So scoring is 6 points for a touchdown, okay? And then you have to choose right away whether you're gonna go for a single point from the 5-yard line or you're gonna go for 2 points from the 10. If you go for a single point from the 5-yard line, you are in the no-run zone. So you have to throw the football. You cannot hand the ball off in that space. If you want to be able to pass or run, you go for 2 from the 10, okay? Most of the top teams from the last couple of years typically go for 2 points all the time. And it's because it adds up fast, right? It's a little bit more risk reward, but that 2 points can be a big difference maker a lot of the times. Okay, there was multiple games last year where that 2-pointer, a couple teams, one team made 2 of their singles, but then another team made those 2 2-pointers in a game. And I mean, that makes the difference, right? Plus, with having the whole ability playbook-wise to run, makes a huge difference. Okay, I will flat out tell you, if you play me, I will never go for a single point. I go for 2 all game long, every single game. I don't even look at singles ever, right? Because it limits what I can do playbook-wise, right? Because I can't even hand the ball off to another guy and have him play quarterback, because then it's not a threat anyway, because he can't run the ball, right? Whereas when I get into the rules and stuff that you can do offensively, right? If I go from the 10, I can still hand the ball. I can take the snap, hand the ball off. That guy can be a QB, run around like a crazy person, do laterals and all sorts of stuff behind the line of scrimmage still, right? But as soon as I do that from the 5-yard line, all that handing off and stuff in the background, the guy can't run anyways. The team just sits in coverage and waits for you to throw the ball in the 7 seconds to come up, basically, right?
So laterals are accepted this year?
What's up?
Laterals are allowed to now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go into that right away here. Yeah, you betcha. Yeah, yeah, that was one of the new rules they brought up. They have a couple new rules that we gotta talk about. So, coaching guidelines we talk about: be courteous to each other, right? We had a pretty good season last year. There wasn't too many issues, but again, it's competitive. Okay, we're all competitive. That's how it is. Just make sure that it's not going over into the kids. Okay, I coach Pee Wee football, right? 11 and 12-year-old kids, man. I'll flat out tell you, there's been multiple times where I've wanted to go after a referee for a bad call or get frustrated with a kid on the sideline. The problem is we can't do that, right? Second I lose my cool, now all my kids know it's okay to do that. Okay? We are the least penalized team in the league for a reason. Is because I'll get 3 penalties in a row. It'll be a holding call that I thought was probably bull crap. I'll get an offside from somewhere else where little Johnny stepped off. I'm like, oh my God, right? And then, you know, finally I'll get another one, and we're now like 1st and 40. Well, we turn that into a game at practice all the time. Okay, we play that game at practice. We're 1st and 20, 1st and 30, and we're trying to get first downs. We don't care how far you're gonna put us back, right? We're gonna play a game with it. We make it part of what we do. So if I react, kids are gonna react. As soon as you react as a coach, your kids are gonna think it's okay to do it too. Just don't do it, right? We're here to have fun, play a game. Yes, it's competitive. The kids are gonna get into it, but make sure you're doing the right things and something that you want the kids to do. You don't want kids like we just dealt with down in Vegas this past year with Selects football. We had a coach for a team from Vegas literally threatening kids that he was gonna go get his gun from his car. Like that kind of crazy crap. Okay, that stuff can't happen here, right? If it does, you'll be kindly asked to leave, you won't be brought back, and your kid will get nailed with you. Okay? You and your kid will both be out the door gone, bye-bye. We do the same thing with our tackle teams. If you want to be a problem dad, it's not a problem. You can go play for another team in Calgary, we're gonna kick your ass, and you can go hang out there, right? Or you can stay here and be a contributing member of what we're doing, essentially, right? We're all fair, but just make sure we're doing the right things by the kids all the time. If there is stuff that comes up, obviously bring it to our attention, we'll deal with it, right? But we've been pretty good the last couple of years. I think it's been pretty good the last couple of years. So live dead ball rules, right? We just talked about that. So there's no fumbles. The ball hits the ground, it's dead play. Make sure you teach your kids this, because kids will do what? Try and dive on the ball, right? That's when we get heads and hands and all sorts of stuff. Make it part of your first day of practice that you tell them that, look, if a ball hits the ground, it's a dead play. You get lots of new kids that have never played this sport before. Ball gets thrown, gets dropped, and because nobody's taught them the rules before, they think that ball is live because that's something they've learned at school, right? Make sure you teach them the dead ball rules. If a fumble happens, it's a dead ball. The play just starts right from where that ball was. So if my kid's running down the sideline looking like he's got a free run, and he drops the ball right there, that's where they're gonna whistle and start the ball from. Okay, but make sure you teach the kids not to be like diving in on footballs. I don't think we've got through a year yet where we haven't seen like 2 kids like, oh my gosh, man, like, especially the first week. Last year, there was a kid from my team and a kid from the other team. Our kid's going in, Higgs going in, and it was head to head, like, it was nasty. Thank gosh we got EMS guys, they come over, check the kids out, right? But the one kid, yeah, he ended up missing like 3 weeks with a concussion, right? My bad, right? I forgot to teach that part of it, right? So make sure you add that into your repertoire the very first day. The ball hits the ground, it's a dead ball. Nobody needs to dive on it. It's not a tussle, we don't have to go get it, it's just a dead play, okay? After a flag is pulled, they're gonna whistle it, obviously. Touchdowns, they're gonna whistle it. If a ball carrier's knee hits the ground, dead too. So if he's even making the catch, again, this is something you need to teach. If he has to go down and make the catch, and this is how he catches it, they're gonna whistle it, right? He doesn't need to get up and run or do nothing, right? As soon as that knee's down, it's college rules, it's not pro rules, right? He plays toast, okay? I wish we could get up, but we're not allowed. So make sure you go through that. They'll call dead ball after 7 seconds. So when the ball first snaps, goes to the first guy, gets the ball. So if I'm the quarterback, I take the snap, I'm standing there. As soon as that ball comes back, referee's gonna start counting. He should be loud. He should be consistent with his count all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 7 seconds is what he's gonna count. If he hits 7, he's gonna blow the whistle, plays dead, okay? Trick to eliminating the 7-second rule. Guy catches the ball, hands it off to another guy. Tosses it back to another guy, doesn't matter, right? However the other guy gets the ball, as long as it's not a forward pass. Okay, goes back. As soon as that other guy gets the ball, 7-second clock stops. They can have all the time in the world they want back there because this guy can now run or throw. Okay, so that 7-second rule only applies for the first guy gets the ball. If he hands it off to another guy, right, to act as quarterback for that play, that 7-second clock turns off. Okay, yes?
If you can't run,
What's up?
if you're in the no run zone, what's the cost of count? If you hand off.
As soon as you hand off, they're gonna blow it dead instantly. So
Oh.
yeah, so that's the thing. Like if you're in the no run zone and that ball comes back and you hand it off, they're gonna blow it dead because they have to assume at that point it's a run play, right? And you're basically taking the ability out from doing So like that's what I'm saying. In that 5-yard space, that's why you almost once you get in there, right? The big thing, like especially us, like I know that you have to throw the football. So I'm sending bodies. Like I'm bringing my fastest kid and I'm sending him from 7 yards as fast as his little buck can go, because I know you have to throw. There's no way you can get out of it. Okay, so again, that's that rule thing, knowing that 5 year space. As soon as you're in there, right, I'm finding my fastest kid, he's going to 7 yards, he's putting his hand up to declare himself, and that dude's told to go as like fast as he can go.
QB can scramble.
He can try, yeah, he can scramble all he wants, yeah, back there, yeah, he just can't, he's got to try and do it on the run. I love our kids, I think Airdrie kids are fantastic. There's only a handful that are going to be able to run around on the run and throw the ball accurately though, right? So a little trick for you, if he's right-handed, send your rusher from this side so he has to go to his left. Okay, because he's not going to be able to run that way, right? So that's something I do, right? That's where my brain's at, right? If I see you've got a right-handed quarterback, I did it to Brady all last year too. I figured out he's left-handed about partway through the game there, so we just flipped it, had our guy come from that side to force Brady to run to his right all the time and try and throw the ball, right? Because it's not something kids practice, it's running opposite and throwing the ball with your opposite hand, right? So if you figure that part out and you want to get a rush on a really good QB, that's a good way of doing it, right? He's trying to bring that, okay? Interceptions obviously will be whistled dead as well, right? Now, that change of possession will happen, okay? If the ball carrier leaves their feet to like jump somebody, it's a dead play. You can't hurdle people, okay? If they left their feet to like avoid contact, like they kind of jump cut, I'm not saying jump over somebody, like they jump cut to try and avoid somebody, they're gonna let that slide. But if they like legit try to like go up and over somebody or do like a jumping spin in the air, right, ballerina that thing, they're gonna blow it. Okay, so you can't, make sure the kids know they can't jump to try and avoid flags and stuff like that. They'll blow that stuff dead too. Okay. Inadvertent whistles, obviously, right? We deal with those along the way sometimes too. So running game stuff. The lower the level, the more you may hand the ball off, okay? They can work, they can't work. The problem with run game is that unless you surprise somebody, everybody's first couple steps, doesn't matter what level they're at, right? They're looking for that stuff, right? So if you're here and you're trying to hand the ball off like it's, you've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers do back in the 70s, right? And that kid's getting flagged pretty quick 9 times out of 10. Okay, especially as you go up to the higher levels. Like 15U, if you got run plays in your book, I would just get rid of them. You may have the odd jet sweep maybe you can use with some speed, stuff like that, right? That's quick, and you're only gonna get maybe 3 yards on if you're lucky. The kids are just too fast, and the field's too narrow, okay? Like I said, as you go down lower, 12U, 10U, you're gonna have a little bit more room. Kids are gonna be less likely to make that flag every time. But I'll tell you, 15U, the odds you making a decent run play that's gonna go more than 3 or 4 yards very often is gonna be pretty slim, okay? You can do it, it's not a bad way of going. But usually how I'll do a run play, if I'm gonna do it, be tricky, okay? Don't just do a single handoff and let the kid run, right? Have your QB and shotgun, have 2 people come by at the same time, put the ball out, maybe don't give it to the first guy, give it to the second guy. Or hand off to the first guy, and then he hands off to the second guy and off he goes. Use more misdirection with your run plays. Okay, I've seen a lot of teams last year, they were just trying to snap a ball and hand it off to a kid, and like 3 people are like, oh, all right, like game over. And especially if I see a team that's doing that a lot, I'll just walk a kid up 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, right in front of their center offset, and I just wait for it. We'll put one of our top guys, he's just sitting there waiting for to hand the ball off, right? We had Lily last year, did it for us for our 12U team. Lily didn't miss flags, right? So we had teams trying to do stuff, and she's just snapping flags left, right, and center on people, right? And so it's a dead play, you're losing 2 yards, maybe getting a yard out of it. So use more long misdirection to try and, if you're gonna try and run the ball, right? Or if you've got a speedster that you can get a quick handoff around the corner to, bonus. And it's based on stuff. I'll go through some playbook stuff, but there's little things you can or can't do. But running's not as good as what you'd like it to be. I know it's a more efficient play because you're getting to hand it off, but teach these kids how to throw. That's the whole reason 77 was created, NFL flag was created, was to throw the football. Just as a heads up for you. Make sure too, with the players, that they can't block. There is a lot of tackle kids that need to be reminded. They have to just get out of the way, right? Again, first couple weeks, the referees will be a little bit lenient with it, but it's us as job as coaches to make sure that we're teaching those kids. Like, if I'm running this way and he's standing there and he starts to run with me as my blocker, they're just gonna whistle the ball dead, right? Because as soon as he turns to go with me, right, the referees are gonna be like, and it's dead right there. So what you want to teach this guy to do is instead of run, we just slide over that one and get out of the way, right? So if I'm running, I would hopefully have taught him just be like this, right? Get out of the way and get off the side, just so he's not blocking anybody, right? If it inadvertently happens because of, you know, bang bang plays, right? It happens, right? But if he's running with him or you can see an intent to do it, right? They're gonna call that stuff, okay? Flag obstructions, I already dealt with that, we'll do that. Okay, so forward passes. Okay, so I'll touch on this because we had this last year. Forward pass has to go across the line of scrimmage. Okay, you're allowed one, right? It's what it's built, but it cannot be a like throw backwards behind the line of scrimmage. Does that make sense? You can toss behind the line of scrimmage. That's not an issue, right? But we can't physically overhand throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. If we're going to throw the ball, it's got to go over, right? Shovel passes, same thing, we count that. Okay, we'll let that go too, but it's got to go across the line. So screen passes, some people want to do it like we did it last year. We have a DB that was kind of scared of a receiver. They're lining up like 8 yards back. So I just told little Johnny there, like, take 2 steps, we'll throw you the ball. As long as it's across the line of scrimmage, no big deal. It's got to go across the line of scrimmage. Okay, backwards passes, they're going to call that stuff, right? Especially if it's overhand and it's kind of iffy on whether it went forward or not. They're just going to call it as a dead play. Does that make sense? Okay, so make sure those passes are going forward and over the line of scrimmage all the time. There's no intentional grounding. So if a QB's getting run around like crazy, he can just throw the ball away. Okay, so it's not like the NFL where it's got to be wherever. He can just throw it out as long as it goes forward and across the line of scrimmage. Okay, no big deal. Okay, he's just got to throw the ball. Okay, I can go out of bounds too.
Is that a fumble then?
If he threw it backwards, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to go at least forward. Okay, it's just got to go towards the line. So like, if I'm getting chased, I'm going to go. As long as I do that, it's going towards the line of scrimmage. Reset the ball. Okay. You get sometimes too where kids will be kids or this way, this way, this way, and I mean every time they do it, they're 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards back. Yeah, I'd even start telling them, just throw it to the ground, right? And then that way we get our 10 yards back, right? So just as long as it goes forward, doesn't have to cross the line, it's just got to go forward towards the line of scrimmage. There's no penalty for it as long as he made the effort to push it forward. No big deal, okay? It'll save you a few times. So shovel passes are allowed. It must be a forward pass from behind the line of scrimmage and received beyond the line of scrimmage. Quarterback has a 7-second pass clock. We already talked about that. If the QB is standing in the end zone, so let's talk about this one, because remember, we don't have end zones now, so there's no safeties this year. Okay, so if I was in the background, because we're playing in that little 5-yard space we got when we first start with the ball, and we've got the line of scrimmage, and there's kind of a 5-yard space to work in, right, that we have. If I'm back there and I get sacked, we're just going to put the ball back in the line of scrimmage. We won't, nothing that way as far as the safety goes, right? We'll just put it back. If it gets dropped or fumbled, we'll just put the ball back on that spot. Okay, that way there's not as many penalties as far as that goes. I know last year was quite a few times where you get a bad snap, right? Because they're kids, right? And go over a QB's head or off to a side or something like that, even at like the 10U level, and we were calling safeties on it. And it was like, man, like, and it made a difference in the games quite often too. Like that one safety, there's a couple games last year that finished like 2-0 because the other team could score, right? So that one safety made a difference. So this year we're going to eliminate that. We don't really have an end zone there to work out of, right? We're working in a small space it is already, so we're just, if it drops or bobbles or whatever, we're just going to put it back on that start line, okay? Quarterback can't throw and catch his own ball. Not like the NFL. Mind you, they have to be tipped, they can do it, but here, yeah, the tips and things like that we won't worry about. Receiving, all players are eligible, okay? So once the quarterback gets the ball, obviously he's not, he'd be the one guy, but the other 4 would be. If he hands it off to somebody else though, so if I hand it off to you, and then I take off running, I can still catch the ball. Okay, so that's that kind of change direction, right? Lots of teams used that last year, especially at the 14U level. You seen it a ton last year at 14U. Quite a few teams use that. In case of simultaneous possession, right? So say both kids kind of come down with it, it always goes to the offense no matter what. So if there's kind of it looks like two kids caught the ball at the same time, DB receiver, no matter what, it'll be the receiver that automatically gets the read on it, right? So there's no point in arguing with it. If they're both on the ground, it looks like they're both jostling around, they both got hands around it solidly, the offensive guy's gonna get it every time. Okay, just so y'all know that. This says interception return ball, obviously that's one of our league rules we took out. And then with feet inbounds, it's just one. So it's not NFL rules on that end, it's college rules for the foot. So as long as one foot's in when they get the ball and they maintain possession, as long as that one foot was down first, or a knee or a butt, whatever was inbounds first, when they catch the ball, it's still a catch, okay? All right, so change of thing for rushing the passers here. So last year, all we did was we would have the referee mark out 7 yards, and basically someone would stand at 7 yards, or a couple kids would stand at 7 yards, and one of them would rush. Sometimes they wouldn't rush, okay? Rule change, okay? And they brought this in through NFL Flag Pro Bowl this year, I think just before playoffs even too. So what has to happen now is you're allowed 2 people, max. They have to raise their hand and declare that they're an actual rusher. Okay? They have to. If they don't declare, they cannot rush. Okay? Max 2 people, but they have to declare before the play starts. The referee will see them. He'll have that set up there. He'll know that they're rushing. Okay? Now, here's the next part. They don't have to rush if they don't want to. So if they here, okay, they don't have to rush. Say you just want to declare them, you can have 2, declare both, have the QB looking at both. You know, they can both step out and not rush. Totally okay. However, if they're going to rush, they have to do it immediately. There's no delays. So if I've raised my hand and I said I'm rushing, right, as soon as that ball snaps, I have to go. I have no choice. Okay, if I'm the one rushing, I gotta go. There can't be a delay, I have to go. Okay? The reason why they brought this rule in was because the referees are trying to make sure that the rusher's not having his progress impeded to the quarterback. So the rusher has line of sight. So if I'm the guy and Jason's the QB, I literally get to walk a line straight to Jay, and if somebody gets in my way and slows me up, it's a penalty. Okay? So crossing patterns, all that stuff, if I'm running and no one comes across in a crossing pattern and I got to duck out of his way to go around to go after the QB, offense is literally getting a 5-yard penalty and a loss down right there. Okay, so you got to make sure. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Do they got to keep their hands up until the ball snaps?
Yeah, no, they'll check them in, they'll know, right? Like the referees should, what they were taught in their NFL stuff, like that they just did in their clinic that they just did, their job is to kind of say like number 4, number 5, right? And they now visually know that those are the 2 guys. Once that's done, they can put their hand down and then away they go. Yeah, but it's up to the referees to definitely see that those 2 kids have checked in. Very similar to how we check in guys on the line when we got to put them in tackle football too. If they got an ineligible number, he's got to come out and be like, hey, like Mr. Referee, I'm checking in, right? So, and it's on the referee to remember the kid's done that, okay? But they have to check in, they got to rush, okay? If they step across the line before the ball snaps, okay, so that's that 7-yard imaginary line. Teams, add this to your repertoire. Teach your kids to go on 2 and 3. Because here's the thing. If you go on hut 1, hut 2, but on hut 1 I step across this line, okay, I can't rush now. Because I'm ineligible to rush. Because I'm already past the line of scrimmage before the ball snapped. Like I'm past that 7-yard space. So I would have to pull up and not rush at that point. If I continued to rush though, and the referee's gonna see you, they're gonna catch you, you step over, and then the ball gets snapped, and you continue to go, offside on you. Automatic first down and 5-yard gain, no matter what happens on that play. Okay? If you want a little tidbit to add to your repertoire, teach your kids to go on 2. I will tell you right now, you will make a killing doing that. You will. I've walked an entire way down the field doing that to a team. Okay, we kept changing up the snap count. And this kid had stepped, and then he was not realizing he couldn't rush no more, and he come across the line. Our quarterback, as soon as he see him step across the line, we just start taking bomb shots because we had a free play. Okay, teach your kids to go on 2. It's important. Or if they got a really good rusher, right? That's a good way to get that rusher not to be able to rush. okay?
So that center has to move though, he can't stand there.
Center has to get out of the way, you bet. Yeah, so like, say you're the center, that's the quarterback, and I'm the rusher,
Yeah.
you gotta get out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So teach your centers, like, when you're building your playbook, and I'm gonna go into some of the playbook stuff, get this guy to slide left and slide right. Because yeah, this guy's got free line, right? So if he's lined up straight, and that's the center, right? I get to run straight here. If you don't get out of my way, I'm getting free yards on it, right? Okay, so make sure, yes.
All bets are off if there's a handoff or a lateral.
As soon as the handoff of the lateral happens, like if it happens right away, it's over because now the quarterback's not the quarterback anymore. Which is again why a lot of teams will use that handoff. Okay, because it kind of changes the rules. As soon as I take that ball, I hand off to another kid, right? Well, that rusher now, right? Because everything's moved, he doesn't get that line that he gets anymore, right? We still don't want to impede him because if we run into him, it's still going to be a penalty. But because we've handed off and it's changed who's got the ball now, that changes how they're rushing. Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking more from a defensive standpoint
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it changes stuff on how he's able to go. I always brought my guys from an angle all the time. Like I said, like if he's a right-handed quarterback, right, or we've seen certain things where like that's one kid would line up on one side to come across, right? We're like, okay, well, let's rush this side. If he hands off to that kid, we're already there. Worst case scenario, he's a right-handed quarterback, we're gonna shoot him left. Okay, and make him throw to the two side, right? Or you get teams where they'd have trips this side, right? Again, it's all gaming. If they put all three receivers here, and then the center, and then the quarterback, well, yeah, I'm going to go down the left side all day long, right? Because all of his guys are over here. If I could push him away from his guys, right, it makes things a little bit easier for me, right? So it's all gamesmanship on that end. You'll play teams a couple times, you're going to learn some stuff, right?
Ty,
Yes.
is there unlimited rushing?
Which that?
Is there unlimited? Or
Two.
only two rushing?
Yeah, 2. So that's why they have to both declare. So you can set a maximum of 2.
Number of plays per game.
Per play.
But you
Oh, you can rush all game long.
Okay.
Yeah, at the NFL level, they will rush all game. Like if,
Just because 77.
yeah, 77, you're allowed 1 per game the whole time. Yeah, with NFL flag, you can send every play. And I suggest sending every play, right? If you want to sit back there and wait for that 7 seconds, I mean, you can try that. All it's going to take is a half-decent quarterback and one really tough kid to cover, though, and it's going to be tough. Right? I'm not trying to toot my horn or anything. My son got to play with a kid by the name of Adriano from the Mavericks football team. He was starting quarterback for the Calgary Mavericks tackle team. My son is a very, very good receiver. Those two got paired up last year, and teams tried to do that where they'd like go 2 deep, man on my kid, and he was still cooking 2 kids because he had 7 seconds to run around essentially. Right, so teams wouldn't rush, and Adriano was getting to hang out back there for like 5-6 seconds, wait for Corbin to run like a triple move on a run, right? Like it's not gonna end well. Luke Reinfleisch should do the same thing to you, Chris's kid, right? Like I will tell you in the 15U division, there's at least 15 kids up there that will cook kids if you try and do that. You need to hurry the QBs up in that league. Adriano is back at 15U. Hudson McLeod, my QB from Kiwis, up at 15U there now. Luke can throw the ball really well. That 15U, if you're coaching it, you want to rush those QBs. Like you want to take as much time away from those kids as possible. Does that make sense? Yeah.
How are they doing the snap this year? Just strictly between the legs?
We're gonna allow the side. Yeah, so they're allowing the side snap. Yeah. I don't care how you snap. Some teams, right? Like it's hard. Like kids, it's hard going between your legs. Okay. We'll allow it if you want. You can stand sideways. The rule is this though, it's got to be consistent all the time. So I don't want to see it changing all the time. If you're going to be that team that lines up aside, puts the ball, whips it back to the QB, do it all the time that way. Okay, I got no issues with that. Yes.
You were able to pass it last year instead of cut it?
Yeah, I want to have it come from the ground. I don't want it off the ground. The rule will be is that it has to be on the ground and you can fire it back at them. I just don't want to see you throwing it back.
There's no actual passing it though, like handing it to each other?
You're going to be allowed to do that now.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to, yeah, again, yeah, it's something you need to. But yeah, you'll be able to toss it back. But yeah, with the snapping, pick how you're going to do it. Make everybody do it the exact same way. So if you find that your team doesn't have a kid that can snap between his legs, that's fine, right? Most kids can probably stand sideways, put the ball on the ground, fire it back there. It just has to start from the ground, go backwards.
So my question was,
Yep.
they were not getting air on the ball, they were just handing it to each other. Like passing it through the legs or to the side, just passing
Like a
it.
direct.
No chuck.
Like taking
No
it
throw.
in.
So I don't mind going like direct snap. I'm okay with direct snap. If you wanna walk your guy right up underneath and do direct snaps, I'm okay with that too, right? And if they want to just hand it, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's not an issue. I would use it in the sense where I can get the ball quickly and either hand it off or flip it out to somebody. So usually when I get my QB to go under center, right? I did it last year with our 10, 12U group. I'd have Everett go up, he'd go underneath close. They'd snap the ball, and the reason I did it was because your team was playing 7 yards back, right? Because you're trying to cover something. And so we would just walk Everett up. We put Lily or Brooklyn even right there. Everett just takes the ball and flip it to her right away. Right? So I got 5-6 yards on you right now. And if it's a decent player, they're gonna make at least one miss, right? Brooklyn was really good. She had real good hip swivel. She was hard to flag. She was so good at that hip swivel to get her flags away from you. It was incredible. Right? But yeah, that's the time I'd use it. Quick jet sweeps. You use it anytime you want to speed the play up. The only time you don't want to use it is if they got a real good rusher and you're trying to throw the football actually. Teach your kids to line up. Like try and teach them to snap the ball 7 yards. Okay? 7, 8. If you played like 7-man flag before, you're going to see Calgary, man, those dudes are like 9, 10 yards back taking a snap from that guy, right? Because you're trying to create as much space as possible between you and the rusher. So if that rusher's 7 yards to start off and you can get a snap of 7, I got a 14-yard head start on that kid. I should be able to get a ball out and do what I need to do, right? But the closer you get, like it's 2 and 3, right? Like that kid's covered a lot of room. By the time you've caught it, right, and kind of getting out of it to see what you got to do, that kid's probably at the 2-yard line by the time you've done that. So try and teach your guys to snap further. So that's why I'm saying, figure out what works best for your guys. Are you between the leg? Do you have that guy that can get it back? Bonus. If you got to do it sideways to get the length, do it, right? Because we want to be able to play football still. So do what's going to work best for your kids, right? You just got to find what works, okay? But be consistent with it.
I think what Chris was saying though is kids, like the center would have his hands on the ball and the quarterback would also have his hands on the ball and he would just take it. There would
Oh
be
yeah, no.
snap.
There's got to be a clear line of sight. If that's what you're saying, yeah, no, yeah. They're like, if we're gonna have the ball here, it's got to go from here to the QB. We can't have the QB like down like on top of it, and there's no exchange there
Yeah,
at all.
that's what we were going through last
Yeah,
year.
no, there's got to be a clear extension. Yeah,
Like a pass.
yeah, there's got to be an actual extension. Yeah, I know. Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, there's got to be a clear line of sight where the ball was here, the QB's hands were here, and that ball is moving to the QB, right? Yeah, yeah, for sure.
They switched it, or there was a lot of leniency because a lot of the centers were snapping into the clouds.
Yeah.
So they just,
Well, that's why, like spend again. I'll get into practice stuff, but like, there's certain things that like you want to spend time on specific things when you're at practice. The guys that have been around for a while, myself, Chris, Mr. Carrick, right? Like we've coached for quite a while in the league. Mr. Ledeca too. There's certain things that we now do because we've ran those pitfalls already, right? And I'll try to go through those things so that you guys have those, so that you're not like watching Chris's team come out. You're like, oh my God, why is this guy doing all this stuff, right? It's what he's doing in his 50-minute practice. It's different, right? So yeah, there's that thing there. Teams are never required to rush the quarterback, right? 7-second clock just takes effect unless it gets handed off, obviously. Any offensive player crosses the line of scrimmage before the ball snap. I talked about that. So that's that line of scrimmage is their 7-yard spot. If they step over that before the ball snap, they've got to pull off the rush. If they continue to rush and then cross the line, it's going to be a penalty. Okay.
They turn into a defensive player at that point.
Yeah, you just drop into coverage, right? Like, and I mean, I was multiple times like I was yelling at my guy like, no rush, right? You know, because kids are like, oh, I'm supposed to go, right? So I'd be yelling at him from the sideline and trying to get him to stop. So
If they hold up before they cross.
yeah, if they hold up, like say they like did it, they're like, oh, and then you get them to stop as long as they don't
7
cross.
yards to scream at them to stop.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah, like establish a call.
Yeah, call. Yeah, no
Right.
rush, no rush, no
If
rush.
you
Right?
see
Like,
it-
that's usually what I would do, right? I'd be like, Lily, no rush. You stepped over. Like I'd have that conversation with her, right? Try and stop her, right? Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Kids get in the game, right? So, flag pulling.
One more question on rushing. 8U is all the same rushing order.
8U no rush because it's coach pass. So the best part for there is, yeah, like we're not gonna, I mean, I'd love to watch you guys run around and yeah, be a good time, right? Like, hey, we're really recording. But yeah, we don't allow the rushing at that age. And it's just because, yeah, it's the coach that's doing all the work. I'd love to get to a point where 8U is throwing the ball. We actually had a really good group of 8Us that could throw the football this year. So I'm going to encourage you as coaches, use that handoff to give a couple of those kids. And we've marked them. I don't know if Nolan's going to have it on the sheet for you. But let those kids have a chance to throw the ball. There was a lot that could throw the ball actually, where even I was like, like how far away is this kid from tackle, right? So and I want to say there was like 10 or 12 of them that could really throw the ball really well, especially that little red guy. So yeah, like as a coach, I know it's Coach Pass, but like give those kids an opportunity to throw the ball. I mean, that's, you know, when I went out the first time, and every one of you went out the first time, you picked up a football, picked up a baseball, you weren't handing off to your buddy, you were throwing that thing, right? So just, that's what those kids want to do, and just give them the opportunity to do that part of it, right? So
that's all it would be, is the coach or U8 would just take you be quarterback, hand
Yeah.
it off to the one that you.
And he can run around, and yeah, you can even, like, you can be as a coach, you could take the ball, have that kid back there 4 or 5 yards behind him, take that ball, flip it to him, and then let him loose. He can run, throw, like whatever he wants at that point, but let him have an opportunity.
Otherwise, the AU coaches are able to do all the forward passes.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, if you get the right kid, man, like, I've been giving that kid the ball a few times a game. Because he's allowed to run now, right? It's an easy play, right?
So they could.
Absolutely, yeah.
Defense can come in.
Yep. Yeah, second you hand it, yeah, second you give it to him, yeah, the D can go too. But especially in 8U, new kids, right? So if you toss that ball back, what are probably 4 of those 5 kids gonna do? They're gonna rush. So which means you've got 4 kids going where? They're standing across the line 2 yards. Everybody else has left them. That's an 8-yard throw for that kid to make at that point, right? Kid catches it. Those kids are like, "What's going on?" Right? And that guy's gone, right? Yeah.
There's a section.
Oh, Willie was really good about it.
Yeah. There's a section for the AU.
Yeah.
Right? That
Yeah.
we go over?
Yeah, like again, we're brief running through this. Like, I encourage you guys to do go through and read this yourself and take the time with it too. Just make sure you know it. I know our referees that are being brought in, like, they're going to get grilled on this stuff because we want them to be very good at what they're doing. They're actually going through level 1 official training this year. We're actually putting them into the Calgary football officials training course. So these kids will actually be certified to literally referee 12-man and 9-man tackle games by the time they're done. So we're going to be really hard on them as far as going through the rules and stuff too, and making sure that they're seeing all that stuff and they're not getting caught watching the game. That they're actually, you know, if a kid's running with his hands down and you see a guard, we're going to get that stuff called properly, right? So
Is this gonna get emailed out?
the rule book, yeah, we'll send a link for it. It's actually just online. You can type in 2025 NFL flag rule book. Yeah, it's right online for you. Available all the time. I'm going to show you 3 other things too when we get into the coaching part of it. That actually has 3 different spaces for like plays, drills, and there's an app you can download too. It's got a whole bunch of great stuff in it too. Unsportsmanlike conduct, we didn't see much of it. The big ones that we look for with unsportsmanlike is we try to teach them, like, kids are gonna be excited about scoring a touchdown. I don't want to see it getting thrown in somebody's face. Okay, the other thing is that the game is fast. Don't spike the ball. Right? When your kid scores, get it to the referee as fast as humanly possible. You may be losing that game and then pull a Chase Claypool and do the whole and we all know where he is now, right? Nobody wants to work with the guy because he forgot that the football game is bigger than what he's doing, right? But make sure the kids are getting the ball. Don't celebrate too much. Like, get that ball. It's a 12-minute running clock in a half. Try and get that ball back to the referee as fast as humanly possible.
And if you have an incomplete pass, you'll just walk.
Yeah, no, like, the rule we have, so we teach our receivers at the tackle level unit, like when I'm coaching a flag, if you drop the ball, you will get the ball. It's not the DB's, your responsibility. I'm the one that needs the football so we can go, right? So if our receivers drop a ball, the receivers are told, like, go get that ball, run it to the referee. You'll even see our guys, you know, they'll catch a ball out of bounds, and they're like looking for the referee as fast as they humanly possibly can get a guy the ball, right? And a lot of times if we're tight window, he could give it to the sideline judge, and that judge will throw it in for us. We tell our guys, just run that thing to the middle guy. Like, run it right to the head referee. Like, don't give it to this guy and let him throw it in, because if he doesn't throw the ball, well, we're screwed, right? Take the ball, you've got possession of it, run that thing to the guy that's going to place the ball. right? It's gonna speed the game up, it's gonna give you more opportunities to score, especially if you are behind, okay? So try and, again, little things you can teach the kids just to speed the game up and help it along. But yeah, if kids are getting crazy during the game, they start pointing and doing stuff right there, it's gonna get flagged, right? If you get two, you're out of the game. We'll have to have a conversation with the kid at that point, right? Obviously, we'll let them back in the following week, but we just won't let them have another one of those weeks. Coaches go the same way, right? So, referee makes a bad call, hey, you can ask any coach that coaches with me. I don't say nothing. I've had multiple bad calls over 20 plus years. I don't say nothing. I let the referee do his job. That's his job. My job is to coach. His job is to referee. The kid's job is to play. The parent's job is to cheer. That's your jobs. Nowhere in fan does it say rip the referee a new one. It says cheer for your kid, coach your kid, referee the game, play the game. You don't get to do two. I don't get to wear 2-3 hats. I get one hat. Okay. Make sure the kids know they got one hat. Okay. If it's unsportsmanlike conduct, it's 10 yards, dead ball spot. If it's on the defense, the offense automatically gets a first down, automatic 10 yards. If it's on the offense, goes back 10 yards, you lose it down. Okay. All penalties will always be, okay, so if it's on the offense, it will always be a 5 to 10 yard penalty and a loss of down. Okay, so if it's first down, okay, and I go offside, my kid steps past the line, before the ball got snapped, okay, they're gonna whistle it dead. Okay, it's now gonna go back 5 yards, and I'm gonna lose second down, and it's automatically gonna be third down. Okay, so I'm not losing the first down, I've already played that down, I'm losing the second down, and it's now third. Okay, so you gotta don't get penalties, okay, especially on offense, right? That's how they take away a down from you, right? So now if you're on your 5 yard line trying to get to the midfield mark, you've now got one play to cover 20 yards or more, right? 25 probably at that point, right? So make sure on offense you understand, it's either gonna be 5 or 10, you're gonna lose down. So a second, it's now fourth. So you're probably punting the ball at that point, okay? So make sure you understand that, okay? On defense gets penalty. Pass interference, offside. It's 5 to 10 yards, automatic first down, right away. So it could have been third down for me. That defense does the across the line and continues to go and gets an offside. I can throw that ball wherever I want. I'm getting 5 yards in that play and an automatic first down now. If I'm still on this side of 25 yards, I got 4 downs to get across that 25 yard line now again. It was an automatic first down again. Goes right back to first down. Okay, so defense, you don't want to get penalties. Again, that's why I said add that going on to your playbook. Right? It can help you a ton. It saved me a bunch of times. Marshall Diggins and the team he coached used it like crazy on teams. Okay, the teams that use that do a good job with it. Okay. I won't get into guidelines as far as ages. So 8U is 6, 7. Okay, and I think there's some 8s in there.
Young 8s.
Yeah, young 8s. Your 10U will be your 9, 10s. There'll be some young 11s that are down in there. Your 12U will be 11s and 12s specifically. And then 15U's got kind of a mishmash. Okay, so there is some 12s up at 15U, okay? But it's basically 15, 13, 14, and I think there's only like one 15-year-old that's in there, right? The younger 15-year-old's like a December birthday. Okay, so there's kind of a mishmash up at that level. The majority of the kids that are in 15U are born 2012, 2011, for the most part. There's some 2010s, there's some 2013s, but the majority are 2011s and 2012s for the most part, okay? So it'll be, basically those kids will all be playing bantam this year, tackle football in the fall. It's kind of that age. It'll be 13, 14-year-olds this year, essentially. So. Okay, so I'll just pop this back open. So a couple of our house rules, right? So we just talked about that with the field. It's 55 yards, one direction of play, okay? The field width is 25 yards, and then the end zone's 5 yards deep. Downs in yardage, first 25 yards is 4 downs to make it, right? And then the last 20 yards is 3 downs to make it after crossing half field. Run zones are gonna be at 5 yards before the 25 and 5 yards before the end zone. We covered the interceptions, which are immediately whistled dead. Team that intercepts the ball takes possession on the 20-yard line if it was on the first 25 yards. If it was in the second 20 yards where they're going towards the end zone, then it goes all the way back to the starting, okay? Intercepting team gets 3 downs to score a touchdown if they were on the other side of it, right? Fourth down gamble, if a team gambles on fourth down and doesn't cross half field, possession automatically goes to the other team at the 20. So if you're on your own, you know, say you're going for it, you're like 6 yards away from that halfway line and you go for it and you don't make it, the other team's gonna get right from the halfway line going in, and they'll have the 3 plays to score a touchdown from there, okay? So gambling will be risky all the time, okay? So coaching resources, I'm gonna put these on the website. Yeah, go ahead.
I hate to take it back to the.
No, that's fine.
Rusher.
Yeah.
Didn't the rule book, it said that they, I thought it would be a house rule, but you said, that they can drop into coverage if they don't complete the rush, but the rule book did say they, player, they have to rush.
So you have to declare,
But I thought the rule book up there.
you have to rush right away if you're going to rush.
Okay, but it did say that if they declared, or maybe I read it wrong. that
Yeah,
they
it's
have
the
to-
way they read. That's why we always go through it. So the way they write it, if I put my hand up and I want to rush the quarterback, like I'm going to go across the line of scrimmage. I am going to get that guy. I have to do it right away. I can't delay.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did get that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the-
But if I put my hand up, right, to declare that I'm going to rush, but no issues.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed like the wording was very definitive.
Yeah, that's why it's why I wanted to bring it up. Yeah, because even the way they wrote it in their book, it was like, man, that's really confusing. So I was
Yeah.
like, let's make sure we go through it. So yes, maximum 2 guys can put a hand up. If you're gonna rush, you gotta go, right? You can't be like, and then go. It's gotta be like you take off that way. And why they do it is so that the referee can watch it. You're not being impeded. That's what it's for. So if he sees you go, the referee's gonna lock on you at that point because we've got a guy that one of the referees that's his job. Right, his whole job, he's actually standing behind the quarterback, and as soon as he sees those 2 guys, his job literally at that point, he's not calling anything back here, that's the side guy's job, right? He's literally just watching the rusher and making sure that he gets a free line right to the guy. If something crosses him and he gets off, flag's coming up. That's his one job on that play. And counting, 1, 2, and counting, right? That way he's right beside the QB telling him the whole time, okay? So, Mojo app, this thing's amazing. I even used it last year. I found a whole bunch of great stuff on it that I even used in my tackle season. There is a ton of stuff on there for drills and plays, and what it is it's other coaches from all over America that are putting stuff into this thing, right? So you're getting some of the top guys that are, coaching guys that are at the Pro Bowl, Flight School Academy down East Canada, like they're putting stuff into this app essentially, so you guys can grab stuff and use things for your teams. You can just download it, have it on your phone, right? And you can log in, there'll be a sign that you do for yourself, set up a little account, and then you can just browse through that thing like crazy. There's Playbook as well. Kick over, it's not gonna kick over. Stop. There we go. So they've got a playbook. If you, I'll put these on the website in the NFL coaching spot on the Airdrie Football website. They'll have a page that's for coaches. If you go to airdriefootball.com, NFL flag coaches, I'll put all this on there so that you have it. They'll go through on here. There's a bunch of different plays. They're very generic, but it gives you a base. If you've never coached football before, it's awesome. It's going to teach you kind of the basic stuff you can do, how to put it together. There'll be a bunch of videos, and then the video will usually kind of talk about the play and how they're doing it, and just how they're setting it up for that side of things, right? But it's a good little good little tool to have just for different things that you can do with it. Okay, I take it, use it. You can dig up TikTok videos. There's lots of stuff on there now. I think Instagram's got a web page now, or a site now too. That's NFL Flag Plays. I will put it up. They literally were at the Pro Bowl games for like the 8, 10U to whatever, 14U, and were videotaping play. China, US, Mexico, you name it. And they would videotape the play, and then they show the play on, so what they did is they loaded onto Instagram with the play like this. So it looks like this, and then below it, they got the team running the play from the video. There was a whole, like I was like, my mind was going, oh, right? So I'll make sure I share that with you guys. It was fantastic. It was actually NFL Flag guys that actually did it. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff you can do that I didn't know you could do. So I learned a whole bunch of stuff too, and it's really good. I'll make sure I send it. The videos are all of like 10 seconds long, and you can just and go through. There's I don't know how many on there's a lot. But yeah, you can build like a whole little playbook basically out of it if you want to, if you're trying to, get some ideas and have some plans, okay? The last one that is on here is drills. So same thing, it'll go to, keep it open so I can close it. Get it over? No, I hate that. My only complaint about power. End. So this one here will have a bunch of different drills, so you just click on the links. So running back drills, and this is all on the NFL Flag website. So at nflflag.com/coaches/football drills. Okay, if you go right to the site, you can actually go through all the stuff, and it's got Mojo's catching app, flag football drills, all that stuff's actually on the nflflag.com website. So it's got a whole bunch of different stuff for you that's on there, 5-on-5 playbook, it's all available to you. You can get a whole bunch of stuff out of here, different football drills, conditioning drills if you've got time. The flag pulling drills, you definitely want to spend time on those for sure. How to throw a football, how to snap a football, and then they'll give you even routes in here. So they'll teach you how to do a tunnel drill, wheel route, and how to teach it to the kids, pull and release stuff. It's all, again, NFL does such a, this is the reason why Dale really wanted to go to, it's just because of their actual online library for like resources for coaches. So you, like, I find so many times we bring new coaches out and you're like, oh my God, what am I getting into? The NFL Flag Group does such a great job of giving you as much information as you want to pull in, essentially, right? It's just a matter of how much time you want to put into it, okay? Okay. So, one of the big things that I get asked all the time and why a lot of guys show up, what do I do at practice? I've won, I don't know how many times now, 4 or 5 times now. I don't do anything different than what you're already thinking about. The one thing that I do that's a key difference, and I do this with my tackle team, I do it with my flag team. Most guys are gonna come in and you're gonna be more worried about running plays. And that's where I beat you, okay? I ran 6 plays the whole year last year, that's all I ran. 6 same plays all year, 6 plays. That was my whole playbook, okay? And even at Pee Wee, right, we've got a big honking play risk coach. If you actually go through my Pee Wee playbook, I've got all about 18 plays on there that we run for the entire season, okay? Where you win football games, right? And anybody's coached hockey or other sports, fundamentals, okay? So I spend most of my time on agility drills, teaching kids how to catch the ball, and on flagging. Those are the 3 things that I work on every practice. I spend about 5 minutes running plays, okay? Like when I did plays last year, we get together for about 6 minutes at the end, and that's when we would work everything together. What I would use is I would teach the routes, right? So we're still working on our receiving stuff, we're teaching the route, and then all we do is, for that last 6-7 minutes, we put it together and just have the kids run through it, okay? I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So here's how you're gonna win games, okay? Get out there, get them warmed up, okay? Start with agility drill off the bat. Get these kids moving, get them running, right? Get them kind of locked in, right? You start throwing the ball around right away, a lot of times, right? That's what they want to do the whole practice. You got to get them to do a little bit of work. Okay, so I'm going to have them cut and move and do stuff that I'm going to need them to do on the game. So a lot of times, right, kids, when they're running, they're going to be chasing somebody, and all of a sudden that kid's going to cut back. Well, we want to teach that kid how to stop and turn his hips. So I'll spend time on that agility drill, having that kid run one direction, break down, stop, and then go another direction. Okay, and then after I've taught that agility drill, now I'll add in the flag drill to it. So I haven't even thrown a ball yet. This is the first 15 minutes of practice. I'm going to do agilities, and then I'm going to do flagging right away. Okay, so flagging, I always do it this way, right? It's always rapid fire, right? You want kids to see it a lot, right? Because the game's fast. So what we'll do is I'll line one of my favorite drills. I'll line a kid up about 5 yards away, make a box, right? About 2-3 yards on either side of that player. And then my kids will just run by that player. And their job is to snatch flags as they go by, okay? You'll have 9 kids run by them. This person now goes to the back, whoever started the line is now in the box. You can run a whole bunch of people through that drill. It takes about 5 minutes to get through your team. But they're getting to see a bunch of it, and they're spending time on flag drills. Now, continue with flag drills, right? We've gone for agility, we're still working with flag drills. Now I'm gonna have it as an angle drill where we're gonna go 2 people. right? So I'm gonna have somebody that's chasing from the back, and I have somebody that's up front. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna run pinch, okay? Simple pinch drill. Okay, so this person knows that one's trailing, and we're gonna teach them how to keep that person along the sideline so they can't cut back and use the sideline as a frame. Right? We're gonna work them to the sideline, they're only option set up and downs. That works for me, they're still out. But we're gonna make sure they can't cut between the two guys, so we use a pinch drill. Okay, so that's another one. I do those 3 drills, no matter what, gonna happen every single day. Okay, no matter what. And that's 15, 20 minutes of your practice. Now I'm gonna spend a whole bunch of time on catching. Okay, so a lot of guys are just like, you know, it's the old school thing, right? Where, you know, diamonds, pinkies, all this stuff, okay? The new thing that gets taught is framing, okay? So what you're trying to do with kids, you're trying to break habits, okay? So football, catching it, kids, and even adults, I still see to this day, when I throw you a football, your eyes are gonna come to me first before they're gonna go to the ball. It's because you're a kid, when you're little, you were taught that when dad threw me the ball and I caught it, I was looking at you for some sort of applause or yay or congratulations. It's built in. It's not your fault, it's just built in. You have to break that. So in order to do it, you gotta teach kids how to frame the football. So what we spend a bunch of time on is teaching habits. So the ball gets thrown to me and I go to catch it, I want the kid's eyes and head and everything to go to it and stop the ball right there, frame it, and actually strike a pose with the ball and start to retrain their brain. Don't look for congratulations. Nobody cares, okay? It's your job to catch the ball, right? We gotta retrain the kids. So I spent a whole bunch of time retraining their brain to catch the football, so everything's focused on that ball, and that's how they catch the ball, right? We'll work the dimes and all that stuff, but you also have to train the brain and the eyes to do the right thing too. So we will do stuff where as a coach, I'll just throw the ball, and what I'm looking for is that their eyes are with their hands, and they're not worried about nothing else that's going on except what's going on with their hands and where that football is, and retrain it out of them, okay? You'll find that if you do it over the first 2-3 weeks, by week 4 or sooner, all of a sudden there's gonna be footballs getting caught that weren't getting caught. And it's because you've got the eyes and the hands working together finally, okay? Throwing the ball is the same thing. You're all gonna get quarterbacks. When we throw the ball, what's the thing we look at every time we throw the football? What do we want to see the ball do? 100%, right? You were taught, right? Throw the ball and you want to see the spiral. So you trained yourself by throwing the football to look at the ball. Okay? So when you throw it half the time, you'll do that and you'll either overthrow it or it'll go short. It's because you're not looking at the target anymore. You're looking to see if you spiral the thing. Okay? We do the same thing with golfing too, right? I know we all do it, I do it, okay? So again, that's the thing with the quarterbacks. You have to train them, right? If you want them to have very good accuracy, this is your time as a coach to teach them to do those things and throw the ball and stay locked on. Don't worry, I don't care what it looks like getting to you. Did it get to you? It's all that matters. That thing could look like a wounded duck as long as it gets there. Kid catches the ball because he framed it, but that's the little things you gotta spend time on. So those are 2 big things I spend a ton of time on so that our guys are accurate, and our receivers, when the ball touches their hands, they're not dropping it. Okay, so that was 2 big things that I spend a lot of time on, that when I watch a lot of their coaches, they're not spending time on those things. So then all of a sudden you play me, and you feel like we've got this crazy good team. And yes, I've had some good players. I did have some good players last year. But even our weaker players became very dominant players this season. We had a kid by the name of Oliver, started out the season, wasn't very good. By the time the season was done, everybody was all worried about Lily and Brooklyn and Jean Luigi there, Jean Lou. And this Oliver kid in the championship game lights this other team up. Like, their coach was like, where the heck did this kid come from? He was here all year, man. But we just spent time with him. He was crazy fast, couldn't catch a ball. My goodness, this poor kid, when we first started, he was ducking the football. Like, oh my God, right? Like, I was like, oh boy, here we go. But by the last 2-3 games of the season, because we were doing all those things in slow motion, right? Like, there was a ball he actually caught in that game. It was like an over the shoulder, like full turn, brought his hands around, caught this ball, and like tippy-toed the back corner. And like, we went nuts. Like, I was running down the sideline. Like, oh my God, like that just happened, right? And this kid's just like, holy shit, I caught the ball. Like, you see it in his body, right? But it's because we spent time doing those things, okay? So once I get through those 2 things, I've usually got about 10-15 minutes left. if I've gone quickly and the kids have gone through really well, that's when I'm gonna spend time on like defense, offense. Defensively, you don't gotta do too many schemey things, right? You can try and zone. It's not a bad way to go, but you're not gonna zone like you would in a tackle football game. Okay, when I teach zone, it'll be like we're gonna go 3 deep and 2 up short. And depending on what you're doing offensively, I will use zone if you can't push the ball deep. So if you don't have a quarterback who can get it out there, right, I'll only put 2 back there, and then I'll put 3 up front. And then what I do is we sit back just far enough to let you catch the ball underneath, and we come and flag it. So I don't cover anybody. I just know you're going to run crossing patterns. I'll just have 1 sit here, 1 sit here, 1 sit in the middle, and 2 in the back, just in case you try to throw deep. And we'll just let you cross in front of us and give you the 6 yards. Flag you, and it's like, okay, well, you still got 19 yards to go. How many times are you going to do that? At some point, you got to throw the ball, right? And I've got to rush on you, right? So we try to time that stuff up, but that's if you're going to play zone, think of zone that way. Don't try and teach kids to drop into the flat and do all this crazy stuff. Teach them to play space. And just be like, hey, like, stuff's going to go in and out of your space. Don't move to it, right? You can kind of like move a little bit to it, but don't get too crazy with it, right? Own your space, let it come in and out, work your flags, okay? Work your flags. And if you can flag, you can win a lot of games, just flag it, okay? If you're gonna play man, maybe you got the right kids for it, make sure your matchups are correct. That's the hard part of playing man. I don't play a lot of man. If I had the right kids, I'd maybe try it, but I find with the 12U and the younger, it's probably 15U, I might do it a little bit more, but at 12U and 10U, it's tough, right? If I get the wrong matchup, like especially 12U, like, there's probably a handful of kids in the league that can run with Jean-Luc, right? If that little bugger takes off, man, I don't know who can actually run with you, right? If you got a decent quarterback and throw him a football, he's going to kill you, right? Whereas if you get too high him, it's a lot easier to cover that kid, okay? But at 12U and 10U, right, it's all that time DB stuff. You don't have a lot of time to teach is the other problem. Like trying to teach DB and coverage, right? There's just not enough time. You need a 90-minute practice to really work DB skills, or have a dedicated practice every other week to DB skills. Okay, I didn't spend a lot of time on DB skills. I just worked zone to make it easier for the kids and be able to spend more time on that stuff. Okay, you can work it if you want to, but I'm telling you, man's gonna be tricky. Okay, there's a lot of extra mechanics and technique to teach kids how to cover man and have everybody be able to do it. Because you can't just pick one kid. It's got to be the whole group that does it, right? If you're gonna rush one, well, now you got 4 kids that got to be in single coverage with no help, right? So that's why I say with man, you can use it, but you know, kind of use it sparingly. Maybe down by the goal line where it's tighter, stuff like that. But it'll be tougher for you to use along the way. Just a heads up for you. I don't use it. I'll be straight up honest with you. Okay. So that's kind of what I do through my practice, right? And then another part of it is while I'm doing my drills, I always have someone snap, always. So if I'm running routes, or we're doing like frame where I've got my quarterback throwing the ball, I have somebody snapping the ball all the time. So we're always getting those reps, right? Like this kid can snap, 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 get back in line. Put your other center in there. Snap, 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 put him back in line, right? Have them snapping all the time. Don't just pick a time you're gonna do it. Find you 2 or 3 guys that do it really well and make sure they're doing it as part of the practice. No matter what you're doing, just incorporate it into what you're doing all the time. If you get lucky, you'll get about 30, 40 snaps in every single practice before you get to the game. Okay, by the time the season gets done, you've got quite a few snaps into each one of those kids. But make sure that's part of what you're doing and just incorporate into drills. Okay, make sure you're adding that in. Okay, so I will go through this part of it. I gotta use Huddle for this though. You guys won't have this, unfortunately. This is what we use for our football team at Airdrie Storm, Raiders, high school football. We got a program called Huddle where we have the ability to make plays. There is Playmaker stuff out there. There's actually one called Playmaker. You can use Excel if you're pretty good with Excel. But we'll go through some of this. Okay, so So 5 players, okay? We'll say the center is always gonna be the square guy, quarterback's here right now. With the alignments, you do not have to have more than one guy on the line, right? Just the center's always gotta be on the line. Everybody else can be wherever you want them lined up. If you want them lined up all back here, right? And then you want to move them from here, by all means do that. If you got a play that it works on, give her. You can put them all to one side, like so. You can stack them in the box, okay? It doesn't matter. The only rule is this. It's an NFL rule. You're only allowed to have one guy in motion, side to side only, before the snap. So this player can't start moving from here and go forward. That's a penalty. False start. Okay? He can go across, side to side, right? So we can have this player go across this way. He just can't be moving towards the line of scrimmage before the play starts. Okay, so you can't have flying slots like they have in the CFL. Okay? You can run these guys whichever way you want, though, and how you do it is totally up to you. Okay? So let's talk past concepts, and then I should be able to move on to questions and all that good stuff and get you guys out of here. So most teams are going to play you with a rusher. They're going to have 1, 2, maybe have a middle guy, and they'll have one back, okay? So a lot of times, right, we're just not even going to count this guy. We're just going to pretend he's already rushing. So he's not part of the game plan, okay? So you've essentially got 4 people that you've got to worry about if they're rushing somebody every single play. A lot of teams will do a couple different things. They might go one guy here, he takes here, this guy's here, and then they kind of do like a 2x2. Okay, and they'll leave the middle open. Sometimes, because it's if you've got a decent guy that can play the field back here, you'll get this 3x1 look where this guy's going to take this spot, this guy's going to take the middle, they'll take that, and then they'll give this guy back here this whole big piece back here. Okay, you'll see this more often than not from quite a few teams. Okay, I use this like crazy. Now, in doing this, if this is what you're always doing, we talk about route depth and spacing. Has anybody heard that concept before? It's new for you? Okay, that's all good. Okay, so depth in routes. So why a play works is a couple different reasons. So if we're running, who here plays Madden? You all play Madden, come on now. Yeah, okay, good. So let's think smash. Okay, we all know that's a play on Madden, okay? So what smash concept is you're gonna have a high route and you're gonna have a low route. Most teams will run like a hook, right? Or they'll run it as a square out, okay? And then they'll usually bring something kind of in the background here to kind of take up space, right? So I use this play quite often. I'll have this guy usually come out here and just leak out. What we're gonna do is this, is that I know that this safety, okay, as soon as this play starts, he's gonna go here. This guy's gonna take this guy. This guy's gonna kind of get lost, but he's gonna see this guy go out, he's gonna take a step. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit it in a window, okay? So in order for us to do that though, we have to have proper spacing. So with a lot of kids, if you don't line it up and teach them depths of where they're supposed to be, they all end up in one space together. Okay? In order to teach route depth and spacing concept, this is why I say only have 6 or 7 plays in your playbook. Okay? If I want to teach this, my goal is to teach this young fella right here, girl, whoever it is, that you've got to go to the back corner. Okay? So somehow, one way or another, you have to get 15 yards deep. You have to. Okay? You can't be shallow. It's not schoolyard ball. You've got to go and play that space way back there in the 15-yard spot. I need you back in this big space back here so that this guy right here has to come over to you to play. Or if he's late, bonus. I get an open shot. Now, with them going deep, that means that this guy here, I can usually run him a little shallower, right? I'll usually run him at like 5 yards, so it's an easier throw. So again, 5 yards. Okay, so short. Okay. And then with this guy coming over, we're gonna play that in-between spot now, right? Where we're gonna play right in the middle of it, okay? Now the reason we do this is that if it's a man game, they're gonna be all covered and all you're doing is speed for speed. My fast guy versus your guy, I'm just gonna pick the best matchup, okay? And that's what I teach my QB to do. If you walk out and my big fluffy butt is going against Sean's gonna cook me, okay? Like Sean, I've had to go against Sean, Coach and Carrick, right? These guys are outrunning me, flat out. They both got good knees still. Maybe bad shoulder along the way, but that's all right. But they're going to outrun me all day long. So if I'm a QB and coach is running a pattern against me and it's man-to-man, right? I'm throwing Jay the ball all day long, right? I'm not gonna be able to turn around with Jay. He's gonna have 5 yards on me all day long. Just take your matchups, okay? So man-to-man, take your matchups. Teach your quarterback that, right? As soon as he sees like, hey, that's a mismatch. That's my best player against a kid that's quite a bit slower than him. You can run whatever route you want. That kid's gonna get open, okay? Take your matchups. That's what you get in man. How can you tell it's man? Anybody? Anybody wanna know? Man coverage, okay? Most kids will literally be locked on all the time. Okay, if they're in zone, they've been taught to sort of play the whole space and just look around. So they won't be locked on to a specific kid, they'll kind of just be hanging out, looking around, right? They're just trying to see who's coming to my space, okay? You can tell it right away. But if a kid walks out and he's like this, he's not even checking the QB, he's just like, I gotta make sure I stay on little Billy here, right? You know it's man, you can teach your quarterbacks that stuff. 10 you kids get it. We throw the ball a ton down at our Adam level, they're 9 and 10 year olds, like we throw the ball for probably 300 yards a game down at Adam, okay? They can get it, trust me. Like, whatever you think they can do more than what you think, okay? But that's the little stuff you can do. Now with this play specifically, because like I said, you see a lot of teams that play zone. This concept I use all the time. I will do variations of this concept, but it's called, they call it flood. Okay, so this is a flood concept with a smash basically built in it. So what I'm doing is this guy's gonna be at 5 yards, this guy's gonna aim for that 10 to 12 spot, and this person's gonna be 15 plus. So the best part for my QB is that he gets to pop the ball back like this, look one direction, and he can go 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to look anywhere else. There's no reading. High to low. Deep guy, middle guy, short guy, okay? The deep guy's not open, eyes flash down, and then what we do is we call putting a player in conflict. So if this guy's playing this flat, okay? This player is our conflict player. We call him a conflict player, okay? He has no choice but to pick one or the other. He can't play both, okay? And what is that player probably gonna choose every time? We call it taking the cheese. He's gonna take the player that's right in front of his face first all the time. So if this guy runs a quick out, this guy's gonna be way over here. This guy's been told to play this position here. He's not gonna move from it because he's been told to play the middle zone, which means this guy right here ends up wide open every single time. Doesn't matter what you do, because this guy ends up high, this guy ends up here, and this guy doesn't trail across with this. It's just how it works, okay? So it's all conflict. So if you can get 3 patterns, bing, 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 right? Triangle read if you want to call it that way too, right? If you can get 3 patterns in a row at different depths, make sure the kids know the depths correctly, and you practice them getting those depths, right? When you play a zone team, you can literally have your quarterback just sit back there and just pick them apart. What a coach will do is he'll start telling this kid to play this instead and give up the little 5-yard. In NFL flag, that's not a bad deal. I got a good chance of this kid covering this, trying to come up and make a flag and misses the flag, and now this kid's running to the end zone. Okay, so you want to use these types of concepts where there's 3 guys, high, middle, low, when you're using your pass concepts. Okay, another variation of it that you can get to, this is white. I ran this one a lot last year. So we would go here, here, here. And then this guy would just hook right in the middle. So we use this one a ton. Again, it's a tough play, right? So we're always looking for conflict plays when we're playing against zone possible teams. Okay? A lot of teams won't bring this player over. They'll leave them over, they'll tuck them in, but they usually won't bring them all the way over. And if they do, then they're playing in man. Okay, so if they bring everybody over and they leave a big open hole over here, they're probably playing man coverage. Okay, most teams don't do it. They're gonna leave a kid over here because they don't want somebody sneaking over making a play. Okay, so again, if we're looking at the same defense, right? This kid's, right, he's the conflict player now. Okay, so he's got to make a choice whether he's going to stay here in the middle or whether he's going to help out here. Right, can't be in 2 places at one time. Okay, so a lot of times this kid, because this was the player that they'd see first, he would sit right here in the middle, we get this guy right here would see these two players come out and he'd kind of get lost in what was going on. This player would turn up and he would have to then choose between one or the other, but he'd always stay down here with that, and we'd get that player in the deep all the time. Okay? Always playing back in that space. Okay? This guy would get covered up, and we were literally just playing this hook just to keep this guy out of the play. But again, use those flood concepts where you're trying to plan your plays, where you're taking up 3 different spaces on the field. Okay? One thing I'm going to tell you to watch out for, and it's because of the rush rule, is try not to do this stuff too often. Okay? They're too close, right? And if this is the rusher, right, and he's coming through here and he's got direct line, if one of them bumps into him, you're in trouble. So try not to run. This is called mesh. If you ever see it, right on the game, it's mesh. Try not to do it too often. Okay? If these two end up impeding this guy, you're going to get a penalty 9 times out of 10 anyway. Right? If you want to run this concept, there's no issues with that concept at all, but just push it out. So what I would do is I would have this guy go out, so now he's out of the way, like you were talking about, and then I would bring this guy from the wide over and out this way. Like you'd always have this one under over, and then that way you're not impeding this guy, and you just tell this guy as he's coming over to watch the rusher. He should never be there the same time the rusher's going. Usually when the play starts, by the time the ball hits the QB, this guy's usually here by about that time. Like from the time the ball snaps, he covers 4 yards pretty quick. Okay, so he's usually out of the way. But if you're gonna run those mesh concepts, push him to the outside and bring him from the outside. Okay?
Take a quick break.
Yeah, you can do that. We'll do a quick break here, and then if you guys got questions, we can go through that stuff. You guys can query me on different ideas. I've got 2 things to cover, and then should get you guys out of here in like half an hour tops. But I just want to make sure you guys have a chance to ask questions and go through anything we want to go through. So yeah, because I got to go through like schedule and stuff.